summer sun continues to heat up our many towns with its solar power, so we are heating up our lives with our solar power, S-O-U-L. So this is about soul. And I gave, 2 weeks ago, I gave a definition from Ernest Holmes' textbook, Science of Mind, where he said, energy is by which everything lives. So energy is so powerful. Every one of us is tapped into this energy. So how powerful are we? In the energy, this is the energy by which everything lives. Everything lives. And that's how we live. We are living with this divine power, this solar power within ourselves. Every one of us is tapped into this. Emma Curtis Hopkins, one of the greatest New Thought teachers who knew about spiritual power, that's for sure, she once said, we have unlimited power. If we do not use that power, it does not alter the fact that it is our inheritance. We have inherited by right of birth. By right of birth. It is that divine energy, that divine power that we are tapping into for the next few weeks. And we started it a couple of weeks ago. And today we're looking at the concept of the power of asking. The power of asking. On page 458 in the Science of Mind book, Ernest Holmes writes, the things that we need, we ask for, and we are to believe that we have already received them. This is going to be basic law of attraction, 101. This is like 101 of law of attraction, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. This idea was not new to Holmes. It's a spiritual truth. It's since the beginning of time, since the beginning of all life. And it probably wasn't new to the master teacher, Jesus, either. But he articulated it pretty well in Matthew, verse 7, when he said, ask and it shall be given unto you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be open to you. For whoever asks receives. He who seeks finds, and he who knocks, the door is open. This is what Jesus, the first, or one of the, not the first, but a very profound New Thought teacher was teaching at the time. This is what he was teaching, New Thought. The Father and I are one. These things that I do, you can do them too. This is the truth of our very being. It's something people have never told us. Can you imagine if we brought up our children, telling them, teaching them this kind of way of living, because it is a true way of living. Then Jesus went on to make a pretty powerful statement when he said, if there is a man among you who, when his son asks him for bread, will hand him a stone, or if he should ask him for a fish, would hand him a snake. If therefore you who err know how to give good gifts to your son, how much more will the Father in heaven give good things to those who ask? And commenting on these words by Jesus, Ernest Holmes wrote in his book, we now come to a definite teaching regarding prayer. We shall open that for which we shall receive that for which we ask. It shall be open to us when we knock, and we shall find that for which we have been searching. This teaching, Holmes tells us, implies the definitiveness of spiritual and mental work. God is intelligent mind and spirit. There is a direct response from the universal intelligence to our intelligence. If we ask for bread, we shall not receive a stone. But we are told we must ask, believing that we are to receive. Here again, we are meeting the law. This is homes of cause and effect in the teachings of Jesus. Prayer should be direct and specific and should always be accompanied by a positive attitude. This is why we call spiritual mind treatment affirmative prayer. We pray. We've been all taught to pray. Foundation class, we learn how to pray. We do. There are 5 techniques to affirmative prayer, spiritual mind treatment. And part of those, the most important part, is to ask, be specific and direct. And Holmes continues in his definition. Jesus points to the fact that if we, being human and consequently limited, know how to give good gifts to our children, how much more will God give good gifts to those who ask? And he implicitly tells us to ask directly for what we want. We can do this. It's okay to ask for what we want. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a relationship with someone but didn't want to ask outright? This could be a friend, a boss, a romantic relationship. You hemmed and you hawed. You didn't come right out and ask. You dropped hints, clues. Perhaps you even got a little upset when that person didn't pick up on those very obvious to you clues. Has anyone ever done that? Oh yeah? Okay. Then you finally actually come right out and ask for what you wanted in the very first place, and that person says, of course, all you have to do is ask. But oh, we have this, I'll speak for me, I don't want to ask for that. But how are we to really receive if we don't ask clearly? Can't receive it. Here's the truth. Here's the spiritual truth. The universe, source energy, spirit, whatever name you want to give God, wants to give us everything. That is the nature of God, forever givingness. That is the definition of grace, forever giving of itself unto that which it created. And we are creations of the divine. In fact, the universe is conspiring for our good, always conspiring for our good. Do we know that? Do we remember that? That's why we're here on Sundays. That's why I'm here on Sundays, to remind myself, to be clear, to accept, to watch what I ask for. And I'm going to get into depth on what we ask for. And a lot of this book was inspired by Ask and It Shall Be Given, Esther Hicks' work, channeling Abraham. Incredible work, very clear work. So, all you have to do is ask, believing that it is done unto you. And we've heard that so many times. It is done unto you as you believe. And many of us probably interpreted that maybe as like this dualistic God thing where you're begging. I'll be good. I won't do this. I'll never curse again. God, please, fulfill this. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about a law that immutably gives back what is put into it, and we have that power. No one else has that power but us. We have that power. And today I want to give us a clearer understanding about the process of asking. Quantum physics teaches us that when we give something our attention and it becomes our dominant focus, we set up an attracting vibration. The universe is all energy. It's all vibration. And since we can focus on something, that is a unique, distinct frequency, a dominant focus that we are establishing. It's an attracting vibration relative to what we are giving our attention to. And that is what I mean when I use the word ask. It's setting up a vibration. What do you want to be the vibrational match of what you ask for? We have the power to co-create that which is the focus of our intention and attention. What are we focusing on, right? Here's how it works, how it goes. We are constantly sending forth desires in life. We're constantly, unconscious and consciously, we are constantly setting forth that motion of the energy field, whether we verbalize or not. Every time we think, I like this, I don't like this. This feels good, this doesn't feel good. I'd rather this not be happening. We are sending out a desire. We're sending out a message to the universe. And the entire universe is established to help give you and to birth that which we focus on. And it reminds me of like this whole spiritual center. I have never, and I had to really think about this a couple of years after I began it, because it was like, I never said I wanted to start I don't know how to start a spiritual center. Oh my gosh, I don't know how to do that. I mean, I didn't even think of that. The thought of that gave me a panic attack. So I didn't even think about that. But where I was at, the spiritual community I was in for many years, I kept thinking to myself, vibration being established. Oh, if I had a spiritual center, I wouldn't do that. Oh, if I had a spiritual center, I would never do that. And I would think this to myself over and over again. So when I thought about it, well, how did I manifest a Joyful Gathering Spiritual Center? It was that vibration that was set up, and at the correct time, the perfect person came along, said something, and Reverend Carol Mayo was with me at that time, and so I have a witness, and said, I live in a church. Why don't you just come and speak there? I had a dream about you speaking in front of people in my church. And this is where she lived, in Berlin, a little church. And I said, oh, okay. So we did it, Friday nights. And it began, and it began. But you see, the universe was conspiring for my highest good, that I didn't really know what was my highest good. I wasn't clear. But the universe knew. The universe knew on some level of my being, but I didn't have the courage to know it consciously. It knew what to provide. It's amazing stuff, and it works. So what confuses most of us about this is that we have not learned to be discriminating in that which we are giving our attention to. When we see something that we want, and we say, yes, yes, more of that, above that, what actually is happening is it's not the saying of the yes, it's the vibration of the emotion that is in the mix here. That is so powerful to create. That's all part of the asking, which means the law of attraction acts upon our vibration, and we get more of what we say yes to. Whatever you give your attention to means yes. Whatever you give your attention to is what I mean today by asking. Even when you give your intention to your attention to something you don't want, you're creating more of it. So I want you to stay with me with this today, because when we see we have patterns in our lives, and we're like, why is this happening? I want this, but I keep getting this. And I've been getting this my whole life. What have we been focusing on? And it makes me think, not to say when my body is in pain, oh, my body is in pain because I'm getting more of the pain, but to say, my body is healing, and to believe it, and to feel what that feels like. My body is healing. My body is healing. You can use it in any form in your life where you are having a repetition of things you don't want, because the law of attraction is always responding to us. So how can we not ask for those experiences we don't wish to have in our lives? Well, there's a light way of saying no to things, like you do. This is one of my favorite metaphors, the smorgasbord of life. This is going to be right here, the smorgasbord of food, one of my favorite subjects. So we're going to talk about when you get in the buffet line, okay? And we go up there and we have a plate. I'd like some of this, and I would like some of this, and I think I'll have some of this. But we don't get up there and get upset about what's being offered that we don't want on. I'm not going to get upset about those pickles and that Brussels sprouts that I don't want on my plate. I'm not going to get upset at the buffet for putting that out there. I just don't put it on my plate, right? I can't believe they have the nerve to put Brussels sprouts out and pickles out, and we get all indignant. No, we don't. We get up with our plate, we put on our plate that which we want. So you just accept that you don't want to put it on your plate when it is food in front of you. But in the smorgasbord of life, a little different. Most of us do get bent out of shape by those things that we don't want in our lives. We put a lot of attention to them. We focus on them all the time. We are constantly talking about them. We think about them as if we could do anything about them. And we can't shout no loud enough or push hard enough. We keep those things, to keep those things out of our experience, the more we focus on them, the more they grow. So it is our task then, simple but very difficult, to do that mind check and to focus on what we want, on our smorgasbord of life. What do I want in my life? The law of attraction is working on that. What you focus on grows. We know this. The harder you push against something, the more you vibrate in harmony with the thing you don't want. That's the crazy part of being a human. The law of attraction is going to respond neutrally, and it yields to you that which you put into it. Not because you're bad or unworthy or deserve bad things, but because your power to create is so great. It's that we are that powerful. What you really want to do or be is happy. Isn't that what most of us want in life? Just to be happy, just to take that breath and feel fulfilled. Jesus said, I have come that you might have life and might have it more abundantly. Go back to those teachings, the pure teachings of Jesus the Christ. The pure teachings are new thought. Your well-being is your legacy. Well-being is what's natural to you. It's what you were born with. And anything less than absolute well-being, which means anything less than passion, anything less than clarity, anything less than eagerness, than exhilaration or perfect vitality, anything less than abundance and prosperity, anything less means only one thing. You've picked up some habit of thought that you are holding, that is holding you back. Some belief that you have formed along the way that is holding back that good that is forever flowing in your direction. Ooh, the universe is always conspiring for our good. Oh. And all it means is your thinking is a little off. So course correction, right here, course correction. Let's remember, let's stay conscious of what it is we truly want to feel in our life, not what we don't want, because that's what we are creating. So what can we do? Well, continuing on that smorgasbord analogy, it's time to begin to use our power in asking by looking at just what we want, to be specific, what we want, really looking means seeing it done before it actually is. In our Prosperity Plus classes, we have all kinds of exercises that we do, mental and even physical exercises, where we act as if it's already done, because that's what you want. Already done. This is what I want. This is what I want to feel by manifesting what I want. Imagine the finished place of being there. Imagine the thrill of being there. Getting excited about being there. Do the mental work. Do the mental work first. And then take inspired action. First, get clear. Feel that vibration coming from you. Feel what it feels like to have it already happen. And then take your physical steps, your inspired action. So, because when you take action to try to correct something that is wrong, all that action does is amplify what is wrong. There's not enough action in the world to compensate for our vibration. That vibration is the power. That's the asking. That vibration, that feeling within us, that excitement, that well-being within us that we are. Then we take the action. Often I've spoken of knowing the what, and then letting the universe provide the how. It's so much better that way. I've used it, I've done it. Usually when I'm in positions where I myself can do nothing, I surrender, I let go and let God. The universe takes over, I guarantee it. Prove it to yourself. Use it. It works if you work it. It's true. It's true. And here's a metaphor that might make it a little clearer. Imagine that you are the owner of a huge corporation. There are hundreds of people working in this corporation, but you're the one who created it. You imagined it, you saw the need for it, you dreamed it, you got in vibrational harmony with your dream, and now it's yours. And there are thousands, not even hundreds, thousands of employees. Some don't know how to use the computer. Some don't know how to file very well. Some can't seem to get along with others. Some are catching on, some aren't. It becomes this revolving door, constant turnover of people. And you have a manager. You have this incredible manager who takes care of all of that for you. So you don't have to deal with anything like that. The manager takes care of it. You get an idea, and you express it softly, and the manager says, consider it done. And you get another idea, and you envision it, and the manager says, consider it done. You have such an extraordinary manager that you are free to have your visions, free to have these constant flow of ideas. You're not dealing with the nitty-gritty in the parking lot. You're not dealing with the raises or the vacations, and you're not worried about any of this stuff. You are the visionary, and you have a manager that deals with it effectively and perfectly. And you count your lucky stars every day that you have found this manager. Sounds pretty good, right? Well, you have such a manager in your life all of the time. And it's called the law of attraction. That's your manager. That's your manager, is the law of attraction. But because every time you talk about it, and every time you come into vibrational harmony with it, you then open your consciousness so that the universe can yield to you a little bit more of what it already knows that you want. We getting this?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a big ask, right? This is a clear ask. It's not even the size of the ask. It's the clarity of how we are asking. We are asking not just with words, but with vibration. And one more important element to the idea of asking, along with knowing what you really want, it is important to understand what your spirit really needs. When stating your request, you must understand and honor the concept of integral need, your integral need. Look for a moment at the miracle of the loaves and fishes. Miracle. The people in the crowd experienced a miraculous manifestation of food. They were not present at that site for a miracle with the intention of being fed. That's not why they were there. That's not why they went. They were there because they were seeking spiritual food. During the natural course of their search, they became hungry. And in other words, their hunger was an integral part of a far more important purpose. We are told, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and then all things will be added unto you. That is why the process of visioning is so important. It helps you to tap into spirit. It allows the divine, what is the highest good for this purpose that the divine sees for me, or for any kind of purpose that you bring to it. And it always comes down, always, to experiencing more of God. We are spiritual beings, and a lot of us have been shut off from that. We are powerful spiritual beings. That is who we are. Well, are we focused on what is wrong and thereby attracting more of it into our lives? Or focus on that which uplifts and supports and enlivens not only us, but the world? Are we focused on our soul and what it has come here to be in this planet? Because there is a definite purpose. There is a powerful good in the universe, and you can use it. Ernest Holmes had a radio show, and he opened it. Every show he opened with that quote. So, my friends, I have a mission for you if you choose to follow it this week. Your mission is to have a smorgasbord approach to life this week. Pick on that plate of life that which you want and disregard the rest. Treat it as if you don't like pickles, like I don't like pickles, or mustard or Brussels sprouts, then I'm not going to put it on my plate. So you don't put it on your plate of life. Treat it like I would treat, like I said. And say to yourself, thank you, I'll pass. Thank you, I'll pass. And focus on only that which you desire in your life, thereby setting up this energetic vibration to attract more of that good into your life. And I'd like to finish this morning with another reading by Ernest Holmes, on page 301. He tells us, remember, God is the silent power behind all things, always ready to pour into our experience that which we need. But we must provide a receptive avenue for it as it passes out through us into the outer expression of our affairs. If we allow, this is so cool, he wrote this like 100 years ago, if we allow the world's opinion to control our thinking, then that will be our demonstration. If, on the other hand, we rise superior to the world, we shall create a new pattern. God has given us a power, and we must use it. We can do more towards saving the world by proving this law than all the charities that have ever been given to. That's how powerful we are. We are creative powerful beings. And we can change any condition with our vibration, with our thought. We don't have to think it's a big, huge thing that we can have. That is a big, huge thing right there. We have belittled it. So I want us all to remember to step into our power, to step into that knowing that the universe is conspiring for our highest and very best good. And so it is.
Amen.